Some big news here. Again, a heated argument that's broken out between passengers at an Air India flight. Air India staff and passengers enter an argument, and that led to unprecedented flight delay. For close to 5 hours, the flight was delayed. Passengers of a Mumbai-bound Air India flight and airline staff got into a heated argument at Delhi's T3, Terminal 3 late last night. In fact, it appears that the flight was delayed by a good 4 hours due to that ruckus and commotion that took place at Terminal 3. The flight took off finally at 1:40 a.m. against its original scheduled time that was to take off at 8 p.m. Yet another controversy coming in from an airline. Air India staff, we believe, and passengers have entered a heated argument that led to a 4-hour delay in the flight takeoff.
वो 15 मिनट यहाँ पे छुपा था, वहाँ नहीं आ रहा था, सॉकेट पे छोड़ दिया उसने। अरे वो 15 मिनट यहाँ पे छुपा था, वहाँ नहीं आ रहा था, सॉकेट पे छोड़ दिया उसने।
That's the video that we have here, and this video was tweeted by a passenger himself, and this was last night, late last night, 8 p.m. flight that was supposed to take off from Delhi to Mumbai, and it appears this argument led to a good 4-hour delay. Finally, the flight took off at 1:40 a.m. Now, the reason for this argument, what really happened between the flyers and the staff of Air India, remains to be established, but for now, this was an unprecedented delay. Just because of an argument, it appears the entire flight had to be halted for a good 4 hours. This should have been good reason for the flight to have been stranded. Let me cut across to Pooja Shali joining us live from the newsroom. Pooja, a quick word from you. Do we know exactly the reason to why this argument broke out in the first place, and what was so wrong that they had to stall the aircraft with all the passengers for a good 4 hours?
This is just another example of how there have been heated exchanges either between the crew or the passengers. This time the ground staff at the Delhi airport. This was a Mumbai-bound Air India flight. Now, it was scheduled at about 8 p.m. and eventually after the delay that was constantly coming for the information that's coming in, it was original schedule was 8 p.m. but eventually it took off at 1:40 a.m. which is past midnight, and because of that constant delay, eventually some of these passengers that you see on your screen went to the ground staff, and their anger also understandable. They were not given any specific reason, and that's why you see a lot of questions being asked to what exactly was the reason. So 8 p.m. was scheduled time, 1:40 a.m. eventually the flight took off from Delhi to Mumbai, which is about 2.5 hours of travel. And this, remember, is just in addition to how there have been heated exchanges, whether it's mid-air between passengers and crew, or in otherwise recently the controversies that have come in. In fact, this is Air India facing an issue, a second issue on the same day. There's been an emergency landing of an Air India aircraft of an international route. And now we see that on Delhi airport, this is how the passengers got into a heated argument over the delay.
Right. Thank you very much, Pooja, for joining us. Of course, we still, as it appears, do not know the reason for the argument that's broken out between the passengers and the Air India staff that led to a 4-hour delay, stranded all of those passengers at that flight waiting for this ruckus to subside, only so they could take off. Finally, 1:40 a.m. is when the flight took off.